misi guru AYU, mencapai misi yang satu, permisi kita bantu.
Tahniah, siaran langsung ini dibawakan khas kepada anda oleh Akademi YouTuber Malaysia. Tumpukan perhatian anda, siaran langsung akan bermula sebentar lagi. Link sijil akan diberikan di hujung siaran ini. Pastikan diisi dalam tempoh yang ditetapkan. Terima kasih.
Hi everyone, how are you doing? Okay, today is Tuesday, so happy Tuesday to all of you. All right, let me show my slides first. Let me put up my slides first. Okay. All right, here you are. All right, everyone, welcome to AYU Tuition. It's free forever for all of you students, and we have a team teaching English. So our leader will be Madam Aisa, and in the team we have Madam Vina. All right, and the last one, it's me, Teacher Yenny. We also have Teacher Heidi. She will be joining us soon. Okay, so who am I? All right, I am Teacher Yenny from SMK Sultan Yusof. Right, today I will be guiding you all about listening. All right, first I'm going to share the structure of listening test, and then I will move on to skills to focus on. And lastly, I will give you some tips for listening. Okay? So let's begin with the structure of listening test. All right. I will show you my notes for the structure of listening test. Before you sit for the test, get yourself familiarized with the structure of the test so that it will not be a surprise to you. Okay? Here, listening. All right. There are 5 parts for listening. Okay, there are 5 parts for listening. And each recording or each track, okay, will be played twice. So you will listen to the same text twice, okay? So part 1, what do we have for part 1? Part 1 is a dialogue, all right? And the question type would be MCQ, 3 options, which means you have A, B, C, you have to choose one answer, all right? And there will be one question that requires you to visualize. Okay, I will show you the example later, and the number of questions for this part would be 7. All right, the level of proficiency for this part 1 would be between A2 and B1. So it will be easier, all right, compared to part 2. Okay, as we go further, the level, the CEFR level would be higher. Okay, so next, the test focus, it focuses on understanding simple phrases and expressions, identifying general and specific information, understanding main ideas, make clear standard speech on familiar matters. Okay, because this is between A2 and B1. All right, so part 2 would be a bit more challenging compared to part 1. So part 2 is a monologue, all right? Monologue, it can be a speech, all right? Or a lecture. So the words would be between 600 and 650, all right? It's MCQ, 3 options. All right, and then you have 7 questions here for this text. Okay, so it may be a talk, a briefing, or a lecture. Okay, and these are the skills required. All right, you are required to understand simple phrases and expressions. You're required to identify general and specific information, understand main ideas, make it clear, standard speech on familiar matters. Okay, again, it's familiar matters. Understand main ideas in linguistically complex speech. All right, so you can see here complex speech because it's more challenging than part 1. Understand familiar and unfamiliar topics. All right. Next, we move on to part 3. So what do you have for this part 3? Okay, part 3, you have monologue. Okay, and you have 3 speakers. I will show you the test overview. Okay, I'll show you the test overview. I'll show you the test later. How does it look like? All right, monologue between 350 and 400 words. Okay, so for this one, there are 3 sections here. Okay, you have section 1, speaker 1, section 2, speaker 2, section 3, speaker 3. All right, so 3 speakers. And CEFR level would be B2 for this part. Okay, so these are the skills that will be tested for this part. Okay, to test whether you can understand main ideas in linguistically complex speech, to test whether you can understand familiar and unfamiliar topics, and to test whether you're able to follow extended speech in complex lines of arguments and reasonably familiar topics. All right. So this one is part 3. And then moving on, we have part 4. Part 4, it's a dialogue, okay, conversation between 2 and more people. All right. The texts would be 600 to 700 words. Okay, again, it's MCQ, 3 options, 7 questions, and CEFR level B2. All right, and what are the skills that will be tested here? Okay, so these are the 3 skills that will be tested here to test whether you can understand main ideas in linguistically complex speech, to test whether you can understand familiar and unfamiliar topics, and to test whether you can follow extended speech and complex lines of arguments on reasonably familiar topics. All right, and then the last part, which is part 5, it's a dialogue again. All right, here you have dialogues. All right, yes. Okay, each dialogue has 2 questions. So there are 3 dialogues here. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3. Okay, I will show you how does it look like each dialogue. Okay, it will be between 250 and 300 words. Okay, so here would be more challenging because the CEFR levels would be between B2 and C1. Okay. So this here, there are more skills that will be tested here. All right. And here you notice that we have idiomatic expressions. All right. And colloquialisms. All right. So we will look at this. Altogether 30 questions. Okay. There are 30 questions. The test will take about approximately 50 minutes. Okay, so part 1, as you can see here, part 1, 1 listening text, okay, 7 questions. And remember, I told you that 1 question requires you to visualize. It may be directions, okay. Okay, so you have to visualize map, okay. This is another example, you visualize. Picture. Okay, part 2, this is part 2. So part 2, 8 to 14 questions. You listen to one track. Part 3, okay, part 3, remember I told you that there will be 3 speakers, and then you are given, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're given 5 options here. So 5 options, which means you have 2 distractors, okay? So you have to choose. All right, so 3 speakers, 3 sections. Okay, so Rajan will say something, Susanna will say something, Cheong will say something. Okay, I hope it's clear. Okay, listen to 3 people, Rajan, Susanna, and Cheong. This is just a sample test to show you. All right, they are talking about safety measures at different parts of the house. Okay, okay, this is part 3. Yeah, I want to show you here part 3. The test structure. Okay, part 3, it's actually a monologue. Okay, part 3 is a monologue. It is not a conversation. So these 3 speakers will talk about something, all right, the same theme, but they will talk individually. Okay. Part 3 done. Okay, now here you have part 4. Okay, part 4, 18 to 24 questions. And then here, the last part, as you can see here, I told you, you have dialogue 1, dialogue 2, and dialogue 3. So for this part, each dialogue, there will be 2 questions. Okay? Clear? So I hope you are familiar with the test structure. So after the test structure, I will move on to the skills that you need. Okay, the skills that you need. So I'm going to close this. Okay, now I'm moving on to the skills that you need for listening. Remember, on my slide, I told you what am I going to share today. So we are here now, skills to focus on. Structure of listening test. Remember, familiarize yourself with the structure of listening test so that it will not be a surprise for you. Okay, please do not sit for the test without knowing the test structure. You have to practice, okay, beforehand. And here are the skills that you need to focus on for listening. I'm going to share, of course, the first one. Okay, I share as a presentation here. Okay, the first one is to develop your English, okay, vocabulary. Develop your English vocabulary. So listening exams definitely will test your knowledge of English vocabulary. Okay, and the vocab used in the listening does not always match the vocab used in the answers. Okay, so it will be paraphrased. Therefore, you have to know the meaning of the word. If you don't know, you may choose wrongly. Okay, for example, you may be given options in multiple choice questions with different words or phrases which have similar meaning to those used in the listening. Okay, I will show you one example. Therefore, it is useful to develop your knowledge of synonyms to improve your ability to understand English in different contexts. All right, so you learn synonyms. Okay. Okay, I give you a transcript of a listening passage. So because I don't play the track for you to listen, therefore I prepare the transcript for you just to let you see that vocab is important for listening. Okay, now here, many people struggle to find stable housing due to financial difficulties and a lack of job opportunities. One major challenge is the high cost of living, which makes it difficult for low-income individuals to afford rent. Okay, So the expert says that's correct. In addition to that, some people lose their houses due to unexpected circumstances, such as medical emergencies or sudden job losses. Without financial security, many are forced to live in shelters or even on the streets. And then the interviewer says, are there any solutions to this issue? Expert answers, absolutely. One possible solution is to provide more affordable housing. Furthermore, governments can create job training programs to help people gain employment and become financially independent. Lastly, community support and charity organizations play a big role in assisting those in need. Okay, look at the words that are bold-faced, all right? Look at the words that are bold-faced. Okay, so here comes the questions. Now, the first question, what is the main topic of the conversation? So, you go back to the slide, okay, of this transcript. So, what is the main idea, okay, or the main topic of this conversation? What is your answer? Okay, can you give me your answer? I'm not sure. Are there anyone out there on the live stream? Anyone out there? Okay, anyway, I can't see whether there are anyone out there. Okay, let me check my YouTube platform so that I can see. Is there anyone asking questions? The line is quite slow. Okay, I need to read your chat box here. So let me see. It's quite slow. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask. I am going to check. Anyone here? You have any questions? Okay, so I am going to share the slides for you so that you can answer. Oops. You can follow me through the slides. You can answer the questions. Public view. Okay, you can okay, you can click the link and follow me. All right, you can click the link and follow me through the slides. Okay, hopefully, oops. Okay, hopefully with the skills that you need, okay, with the skills that you need, it helps you to breeze through your listening test. Okay, so what is the main topic here? All right, as you can see, the options given to you: A, urban crime; B, homelessness; C, education reform; D, population growth. All right, so you don't have the word homelessness here, but with this, okay, I'm giving you some hints here. Struggle to find stable housing, okay, due to financial difficulties and lack of job opportunities. So you can actually rephrase it. The answer would be B. Okay, so the answer would be B. So if you choose B, remember to click submit. Okay, then you will know whether the answer is correct or wrong. Okay, and the second one, what is the main reason that many people struggle to find stable housing? What is the main reason? So let's find the main reason. What is the main reason? Okay, what is one of the main reason? Is it expensive living costs, overpopulation? Do we have overpopulation here? Do we have expensive living costs here? Therefore, you need to improve your vocabulary so that you would be able to understand what does it mean. Okay, expensive living costs. Okay, so that is the meaning of high cost of living. Okay, let's look at this. All right, explanation. Number one, homelessness. The clue synonym here is given to you, struggle to find stable housing. Number two, expensive living costs. It's actually the synonym of high cost of living. All right, multiple choice questions. Now here again, testing your synonyms in context. All right, according to the expert, why do some people struggle to find stable housing? Okay, is it A, they choose to live on the streets, B, they don't want to pay rent, C, they face sudden life challenges that make housing unaffordable, D, they prefer to rely on charity organizations. So what's the answer? Okay, A, B, C, D. Okay, I hope you remember the passage, okay, the transcription that I gave you earlier. So the answer would be C. Okay, the answer would be C. Okay, as you see here, I go back to the slide. Oops, sorry. Let me go back to the slide. Okay, this is the slide. Okay, struggle to find stable housing, high cost, okay, unexpected circumstances. So here, such as medical emergencies or sudden job losses without financial security. Therefore, you would know the answer should be C. Next, what is one way governments can help people to find stable housing? So, what is the way? Increase rental prices, provide skill development, encourage people to move to different cities, build more houses. Okay, so if you read carefully, you try to rephrase, the answer would be B. Okay. Okay, next skill. Okay, here I have explanation here. All right, they face sudden life challenges that make housing unaffordable. Okay, so students must understand unexpected circumstances, medical emergencies, and financial security. Okay, so you have to learn synonyms, you have to increase your vocabulary. And for number 4, the correct answer would be provide skill development programs to help people find jobs. Okay, job training programs, employment, and financial independence. So these are words associated with this provide skill development. Okay, and the second skill that you need would be listen for signpost words. Okay, what is the purpose of signpost words? It's actually to help listeners to follow the structure and follow the flow of the information given. And I hope that by grasping this skill, it helps you to breeze through your listening test. Okay, here the purpose for these signpost words are to indicate transitions, to emphasize point, okay, to clarify relationships between ideas. Okay, so we'll look into it. Let's move on. So signposting of order, when it comes to signposting of order, okay, so it helps you, it helps you to listen through the dialogue or monologue. Okay, it provides you a roadmap for the order so that you know which comes first, which comes second. All right, it helps you to keep on track throughout the listening. Okay, and this kind of signposting are normally used for introduction, conclusions, and when transitioning from one big idea to another or talking about methods and procedures. So here are some examples. Don't worry, I will show you examples. Okay, Here are some examples. When you need to do listing, you have to use this. Firstly, secondly, afterwards, next, okay? And when you are referring forward, you can use as we shall see, as explored below, as will be explained later, because you are referring forward. When you refer backwards, so these are some of the signpost words that you can use, as we have seen. So the speakers will use, you know, these words to let you follow through the listening text, okay? Transitioning between points, okay, they will use moving on to, it is now necessary to, and next, so that you know what is the next idea, okay? And there's another one, signposting of relations. So when it comes to signposting of relations, okay, you will follow the logical steps in the listening. Okay, it shows relationship between ideas and it makes it clear to the listener to identify similarities and differences, cause and effect, summaries, examples, all right, or any important pieces of information. Okay, so here are some examples. All right, so you need to take note when you listen to these words, you must be able to understand. Okay, now when you need to add something, okay, when the speaker wants to add something, he or she will say as well as, in addition, additionally, another, to elaborate. So you take note. Okay, that's another point. Okay, when the speaker wants to illustrate something, okay, it prepares you for an example. So you have to listen, what are the examples, namely, notably. So these are the words to indicate that the speaker will illustrate something for you, okay? And then similarity, so they will use similarly, likewise. These are some of the examples. And when to show contrast, all right, the speakers will use in contrast, whereas on the other hand, despite this. So you must grasp all these words, okay, so that it helps you to breathe through your listening test. All right, and then we have some more. We have some more here, cause and effect, all right. Cause and effect, the speaker will use some of these, therefore, consequently, resulting from this, subsequently, and with this in mind, for this reason. And when they want to emphasize something, okay, they may use in particular, especially, indeed, importantly, in fact. And when they need to summarize, all right, they may use in summary, in brief, altogether, overall. And when they want to reformulate something, that means to, you know, to say the same thing using other words, okay, so they can use signpost words like rather, better still, stated otherwise, in other words, and so on and so forth, okay. All right, and of course I will show you some samples here, all right. Identifying signpost words, okay, and I hope that you can follow me. All right, so here I will show you one listening script because I want to show you the importance of signpost words, okay. Perhaps you don't think that signpost words are important, so here, this is a sample that I can show you why is it important. All right, you can see those words that I put in red, all right, to begin with, all right. In other words, firstly, now, one major, another significant factor. So all these would help you to follow the flow of the monologue or the flow of the dialogue, okay. So this is a monologue, okay, this is a monologue. It's actually a speech. All right, good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about an important issue that affects many people in our society, homelessness. To begin with, let's define what homelessness actually means. Firstly, homelessness isn't just about not having a roof over your head. It also includes people who live in temporary shelters, cars, or even on friends' couches. In other words, it's a situation where a person lacks stable and safe housing. Now, let's move on to some of the key causes of homelessness. One major cause is poverty. When people lose their jobs or face high living costs, they may not be able to afford rent. Another significant factor is mental health issues. Without proper treatment and support, many people with mental illnesses struggle to maintain stable housing. So what can be done to solve this issue? First of all, the government should provide more affordable housing options. Secondly, communities need to support local shelters and organizations that help the homelessness. Finally, education and job training programs can help people to get back on their feet. To sum up, homelessness is a complex problem, but by working together, we can find solutions. Before I finish, let me emphasize that small actions like donating or volunteering can make a big difference. Thank you for listening. Now I would like to open the floor for any questions. Okay, so let's look at the questions here. Okay, here are all. Oops. Wait. Okay, actually, I would like you to identify the signpost words. But then never mind. Okay, I'm just going to show you, okay, the answers, because there are not many students out there, right, on my YouTube. So I'm just going to share the answers just to let you know all the signposting words in the monologue. Okay, so you can see that I put them in red. All right, some I boldface them. Okay, to begin with, it's actually to introduce the first main point, the definition of homelessness. Okay, so what's the main point? To begin with, it's the main point. So when you listen to this, you know what is the main point. Okay, and then firstly, okay, introduces the first explanation of what homelessness includes. In other words, that means, remember, I told you it's reformulation. That means rephrases the definition for better understanding. Okay, as you can see here, the speaker is trying to reformulate it, to rephrase it so that you can understand. Okay, as you can see here, in other words, it's a situation where a person lacks stable and safe housing. Okay, now let's move on to, so when you listen to this phrase, now let's move on to, it signals a transition to a new topic. Okay, so what is the new topic? It's talking about causes of homelessness. One major cause, so it introduces the first cause, that is poverty. Another significant factor is, okay, so it introduces the second cause. So it is clearly explained what is the first cause, what is the second cause, so that listeners would be able to follow the flow, okay, of the speech. All right, number 7, we have here, so what can be done to solve this issue? So it signals a shift to a solution. Okay, so what can be done to solve this issue? It signals a shift to solutions. Okay, first talking about the definition and then the cause, and now it's moving on to solution. First of all, again, it introduces the first solution. What is the first solution? Affordable housing. Secondly, it indicates that the speaker wants to introduce you to the second solution, okay, which is supporting shelters and organizations. Finally, it's to introduce the last solution, okay, that is education and job training. And then to sum up, it's the conclusion. So when you listen to sum up, you know that, okay, it's going to conclude. And then before I finish, let me emphasize, that means to highlight the important final thought, okay. Thank you for listening. Now I would like to open the floor for any questions. It signals the end of the talk. And then moving on to Q&A session. Okay, it's very simple. All right. So just to show you briefly, these course markers, linkers versus signpost words, what are the differences? Okay, just to show you roughly, because if I were to go in depth about linkers, signpost words, and discourse markers, it's going to take another lesson. Okay. And then the third skill that you need is to identify attitude of speakers in the listening. Okay. Do we still have time? Okay, 5:30. Now, understanding a speaker's attitude in the listening exercise is essential for you to know their emotions, opinions, and perspectives. Okay, so here are some of the strategies to help you to recognize attitude in spoken language. Okay, so you will be asked about the attitude of the speakers. Okay, so you have to listen to the tone as well. Okay, so pay attention to discourse markers. All right, discourse markers, because it helps you to know the speaker's attitude. All right, so you need to know the speaker's attitude. For example, discourse markers like absolutely, exactly, that's right. It shows agreement. But when you have doubts, maybe you will say, well, I suppose, maybe, I guess. All right, or you are, you know, quite skeptical. Okay, you will ask, I must say, to be honest, you have to listen to the tone as well. Okay, contrast. All right, however, on the other hand, but. Okay, here, recognize word choice and emphasis. All right, positive attitude. That's fantastic. You did an incredible job. Okay, it's a positive attitude. All right, you say that somebody has done very well. Okay, that's fantastic. But when it's, you know, when it shows negative attitude, so the speaker will say, that's terrible. Nothing ever works here. Okay, so that is a negative attitude. When it's neutral attitude, then the person would say, it's okay, I guess, nothing special. All right, so here I show you one example. She's quite interesting. Emphasizing interesting with a strange tone may mean the speaker is being sarcastic. She's quite interesting. Okay, meaning the lady maybe is quite peculiar. Okay, the lady is quite weird maybe. Okay, so you have to listen to the tone as well, with the strange tone. She's quite interesting. Okay. All right, next, look for contrasting ideas. Okay, look for contrasting ideas. Now, sometimes speakers change their attitude using contrast words. Okay, I thought the movie would be great, but, so you look at this, but, or however. I like the idea, however. It's quite skeptical, right? So I show you one here, the transcript. I was really looking forward to it, but in the end, it wasn't what I expected. So how does the speaker feel about the event? You have to understand the tone. You have to understand the attitude of the speaker. So is it excited? Is the speaker excited? Is the speaker disappointed? Is the speaker being neutral? Is the speaker confused? Okay, I was looking forward to it, but in the end, it wasn't what I expected. Okay, so B, let's check now. If you put B, you submit your answer. Okay, so the answer is B, disappointed, because you can see the change of attitude here, but in the end, it wasn't what I expected. Okay, maybe the speaker expected something grand, but then something not grand happened. All right. Okay, signals a shift to disappointment. All right, and of course, you also need to understand idioms, number 4. Okay, idioms, colloquial words or slang. They can enhance your listening skills. All right, they commonly appear in part 4 and part 5 of Muet listening test. Okay, remember I told you, as you go, it will be harder and harder. Okay, it will be more challenging and more challenging. All right, part 5 will be more challenging compared to part 4. Part 4 will be more challenging compared to part 3. Okay, so they carry meaning that are not literal. If I say that, you know, wet behind the ears, it doesn't mean that your ears are wet. Okay, so it has different meaning. It's not literal. Okay, for example, let's look at this transcript. Do we still have time? Okay, I'm going to end earlier. Now, let's look at this transcript. Okay, Mike says, "Hey Sarah, did you hear about Jake? He lost his job last week." Sarah says, "Oh no, that must be tough." Mike, "Yeah, he's really down in the dumps right now. But you know Jake, he won't just sit around. He's already hitting the ground running with job applications." And then Sarah says, "That's good to hear. It's never easy, but I'm sure he'll bounce back soon." Mike says, "For sure. He always been one to roll with the punches." Okay, so you can see here, maybe there are not so many idioms in one dialogue. Okay, there may be 2 or 3 idioms. Okay, but then here, this is just to show you the importance of understanding idioms. Okay, so if you don't understand down in the dumps, you may think of something else. Hitting the ground running is not the literal meaning. Okay, it's actually an idiom. Okay, here, all right, slang. Okay, here I have here examples, some of the slangs here. All right, that party was lit. Everyone was dancing all night. Lit is slang for amazing or exciting. Okay, it's used by younger people. Okay, I know teenagers, you like to use the word cool. Wow, cool. All right. All right, and then colloquial example. Hey, I'm gonna grab some coffee. Wanna come? Gonna and wanna are common informal contractions used in everyday speech. So in listening test, you may hear or you may listen to some of the informal contractions, okay, that you will not use in writing. All right, you can't use slang in writing. Sorry, you cannot use colloquial in your writing. For example, gonna and wanna. Okay. Slang is actually used by specific groups. For example, teenagers. When you look at something trendy, something that you like, you may say cool. You love it. Okay, and then so here I will share with you some of the tips. Okay, please listen for specific information. You don't listen to each and every word. Some of the words that you do not know, it's okay, it's fine. It's not that when you listen to that word, you don't know that word, okay, you feel panic, then it may actually affect the whole listening test. Okay, just keep calm, listen to the speakers, all right? And then if you can't grasp some of them, it's fine because it will be played twice. Okay, practice selective listening. You have to practice what is important. You don't listen to each and every word. Focus and concentrate only on relevant parts of information that you are looking for. Pay less attention to the rest of the information. Okay, use the 30-second givens. Use the 30 seconds given to you. Okay, reading the questions and the answers, the options given to you. Okay, before the test starts. Okay, read questions before the test starts. Okay. Underline keywords in the question before you listen to the listening test. Okay, underline keywords. Focus on what you are looking for. So before they play the tracks, you just read. Okay, read through and get the keywords. All right, try to find answers to questions after the first listening. Okay, second listening is to confirm. But if you can't, never mind. It's okay. Okay, be calm and listen attentively. Don't try to understand every word. As I said earlier, you don't try to understand each and every word. You target for certain information that is relevant and ignore the rest. Okay, practice and develop your listening skills. Okay, so you need to practice speaking with your friends as well, because you need to listen to your friends when they speak in English. All right, use standard English. Familiarize yourself with day-to-day conversation. Okay, you use idioms, slang, incomplete sentences would be fine for speaking and for listening. Okay, for listening skills, for listening. Maybe sometimes you listen to incomplete sentences. Nothing is wrong with that. Okay, you don't feel that, hey, that's wrong, grammatically wrong. Okay, because it's listening. Okay, day-to-day speech. They will use colloquial words, okay, repetitions and ungrammatical sentences. Understand simple expressions to describe location, position of things. Because remember, I told you part 1, okay, part 1, normally you will get maps. So you have to, you have to know the directions, left, right, okay, junction, roundabout, all that, okay? Learn to process information quickly. So in order to do that, you have to, speak English with your friends so that you will be able to listen to your friends' English, okay? And of course, you need to find someone who can speak standard English with you, okay? Okay, one of the best ways to improve your English skills is to practice. As I said earlier, practice and practice. It's natural that speaking and listening are closely linked. Okay, so you have try to have conversations in English. Okay, especially with native speakers. If you can't find native speakers, you can speak English with your English teachers. All right, it's a great way to develop your English, great way to develop your speaking skills and also listening skills. Okay. All right, so now I would like to end with this slide. Listening is the key to understand others. All right, that's the power of listening. So if you want to get in touch with the teachers, you can always go to Free for Muet candidates. This is the Telegram group. And then don't forget to get this, the certificate of attendance. All right, let me share with you the certificate of attendance. Okay, I will share with you the certificate of attendance. So make sure that you get this certificate before you leave. Wait, where is my StreamYard? Okay. All right. So I will share my certificate link here. All right. Don't just click the link. You have to copy the whole link and paste it on your Omnibox or the URL, the Omnibox at the top, in order to get the cert. Okay, I think that's all for today. It's already 5:50. Okay, if you have anything, you can just join the Muet group and you can ask some questions there. And I have ex-students who are willing to help in that group. Okay, sometimes I may overlook the messages or the questions, okay, but there are people there to help you. So thank you for supporting us in AYU Academy. Support us so that we can continue this free tuition to all of you. Okay, so thank you very much. I think I would like to end the free tuition now. Okay, I think I should play this one. Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you. Okay, thanks.
Marah semua para ilmuwan, semai ilmu kepada anak wawasan, tak kira di utara selatan, sampaikan ilmu penuh kesungguhan. Akademi YouTuber Malaysia, rangka laksana dengan jitu, penuh bermisi guru AYU, mencapai misi yang satu. Permisi kita, bantu kita, bermoto sendiri yang kita biasa, bersama kita luar biasa, berjasa demi nusa bangsa.
Akademi YouTuber Malaysia, berpadu bersatu keluarga AYU, memberi ilmu tanpa jamu, siap sedia menyumbang ilmu.
Ilmu diberi juga dikongsi pada semua generasi yang terkini. Lahir generasi yang berkualiti, sedia berkhidmat pada pertiwi. Akademi YouTuber Malaysia, rangka laksana dengan jitu, penuh bermisi guru ayu, mencapai misi yang satu. Permisi kita, bantu kita, bermoto sendiri yang kita biasa. Bersama kita luar biasa, berjasa demi nusa bangsa. www.academyyoutuber.com. Berusaha ayu, capai kecemerlangan. Berpadu ayu, cipta kegemilangan. Bersatu ayu, bina wadah terbilang. Terus berjaya bersama ayu.
Berusaha ayu, capai kecemerlangan. Berpadu ayu, cipta kegemilangan. Bersatu ayu, bina wadah terbilang. Terus berjaya bersama ayu.
Marah semua para ilmuwan, semai ilmu kepada anak wawasan. Tak kira di utara selatan, sampaikan ilmu penuh kesungguhan. Akademi YouTuber Malaysia, rangka laksana dengan jitu, penuh bermisi guru ayu, mencapai misi yang satu. Permisi kita, bantu kita, bermoto sendiri yang kita biasa. Bersama kita luar biasa, berjasa demi nusa bangsa.